So we'll go on with the meeting. Let's call the meeting to order. Okay, first thing we have is the approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a change to it, and we all have the 644 North Madison paperwork in front of us, and that came in after this was already prepared. So we'll go ahead and add that to the agenda under new business.
I move that we approve the agenda with changes.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes from our April 5th meeting.
I move that the minutes of the April 5th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting be approved as printed and circulated.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New
Let
business?
me make sure I can hear Kelly. Kelly, can you hear this? Okay, just making sure.
Oh, we need to find out where she's from.
Oh. Thank you, Kelly.
You all set?
I am, thank you.
Okay. We're going to have a new member at our next meeting, but he was gracious enough to come to this meeting, and he will be appointed and sworn in on the 20th, and he is a neighbor of Larry, so I'll turn it over to Larry and let you introduce him.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Zach Muller. And Zach graciously, as Bob just indicated, has agreed to serve on the Planning Commission to fill a vacancy that we've had. And I'm going to turn it over to Zach, and just qualification or clarification is he's planning to come to this Thursday's council meeting to be voted on, sworn in, and become an official member, if you will. But I thought, at Bob's suggestion, we have him come this evening and participate in the discussion as appropriate. Zach?
Yeah, nice to meet all of you. My wife and I, we've been together for 10 years, and we moved to Perry about 2 years ago. And we really love the community here, how tight-knit everyone is. To give you a little bit of a background on my career, I worked as an underwriter for an independent bank, and I worked for Greenstone, and prior to that I worked for a lot of technology companies in sales and customer service. And I'm interested in this opportunity because in college I actually took some urban planning and development courses, and it really piqued my interest, and I've always wanted to get involved in city government. So I'm excited to be a part of the Planning Commission.
That's great. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Started with a passing comment to ask if he had some spare time I might be interested, and he jumped at the opportunity. So thank you, Zach.
Yeah, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
You can't vote today, though.
All right, that's fair.
With these masks, you lose all the facial expressions.
It's so true, I know.
Okay, new business, we'll open up for discussion. Does everybody have a copy of the paperwork from the attorney and Jim? Does anybody have any questions or concerns on it, on there for this conditional rezoning?
I do.
All right,
And it deals with, let me get to the right page here. It deals with the collection of, it'd be page 2, item D, where we talk about the commercial trash pickup being only between the hours of 8 in the morning and 7 in the evening. And I guess, Mr. Thomas, a couple of things. I've got an issue, quite honestly, whether we're setting a precedent for the rest of the city, where we've got commercial properties adjacent to residential, and do we have an expectation potentially that any residential property owner could come along and say, well, I want to have special dispensation to not have my trash picked up, but before 8 in the morning, which certainly isn't the practice now. I think we've got a number of places around town that have early morning commercial pickup. That's new and different for that property location, but not unique to that property location. And I'm not sure, Mr. Thomas, whether or not you've had any specific discussion with your trash collection company and whether you have an arrangement made that would allow this 8 AM stipulation to be honored. Devin?
I could help with that.
Okay.
And in our trash ordinance, if you read it, the only ones that can have the option of opting out is commercial, but they must fill out the sheet and the information, and they must state, they must have a dumpster, is the stipulation, and they must state what company they used. And we don't charge or anything like that. That charge would actually, once they established who has their dumpster and who's taking care of it, the trash fee is actually taken off of that commercial residence because they're taking care of their own trash.
Right.
Is that your intention, is a dumpster and pick
We already
up?
had the dumpster. I think that was brought to the attention last meeting because it came, was it once that it came? Or that early in the morning?
One time.
And so the normal route is, I don't know why they went there that early that one time, but the normal route is closer to 8 o'clock.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm assuming that the specifications was due to a meeting that you had, but according to your question, there is a difference and there is a process that as a commercial, you can opt out.
Right, but once they've established,
Yeah, excuse me.
Carol, go ahead.
I live across from Johnny D's. They pick up at 5:45 Mondays and Thursdays. What he's asking is if I could come in and say, hey, I don't like that. Wakes me up every Monday and Thursday. That's what he wants to know. If the neighbors could come in and say, if it sets a precedent.
That's my concern with that particular, I understand your willingness to
Yeah.
abide by that. I'm just concerned, as Carol said,
Yeah.
and we have the same thing personally with the medical building that's a half a block from us, same scenario. I think we've got a number of locations around the city that have early morning commercial contract to pick up, independent of the residential pickup for the city. So,
It was picked up this morning at 6:53.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Because my wife said, there's our trash truck.
Now, going back to our conversation, with us putting the fence up, was that gonna kinda help with that or no? Are we still?
You're still gonna hear the noise when he
Okay.
picks it up and brings it up over the top of the truck.
Mm,
I hear Snyder's IGA or Carl's.
Yeah.
I hear them when they pick that one up.
oh,
And might even hear some of that from over to Johnny B's. I don't, personally, my wife and I have both decided it's not a big issue for us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not for us either. We've got used to it.
So you had a good question, I get your point. So for this condition or rezoning agreement that is added to it, in my opinion, as planning commission, you would X that section out because this isn't going to be officially filled out because it references the planning commission meeting that it was approved, the council approval. This is, you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
So if that is, you want to X that out, you as a planning commission, I would make a motion stating that we approve all except take this section out. So then you are formally putting in your minutes what you agree to in this.
So this wouldn't call for a redo again, right?
No,
Okay.
not in my opinion. This conditional rezoning agreement is with the application, so this
Okay.
could be determined now, and the reason why I say that is that I have to get with the city attorney, but when I do the notice of your public hearing, I'm assuming I'm going to have to cite to the public this agreement that the condition that's going with it. So any changes would be on the agreement of council, or planning, sorry, it's happening. I would make a formal motion if you're gonna change something that's been presented to you.
I don't know if we want to change it. I mean, we don't want the trash picked up at 6 AM,
Agreed.
right? We just don't want everybody to come in and say, I want the same thing.
So if you're setting a precedence that you're allowing this in here, and yes, somebody else could come in there. So in my opinion, if it's being done it's being done in there, that part should be taken out. Because nobody else has been specified as a commercial business to have it in a specific time.
My point is two things. Number one, the precedent. Number two, I don't know that we have an agreement across the city with the commercial contractors to not start picking up but prior to 8 a.m.
We do not.
And therefore, it's an unrealistic expectation to expect Mr. Thomas to be able to abide by on a long-term basis, and also unrealistic to think that we want a precedent set like this for the balance of the commercial/residential geography within the city. And to that end, I'd like to make a motion that inside the conditional rezoning document, that on page 2, under 1.1, item D, be struck from the document.
Okay.
What's that gonna do? Is that gonna allow him to come in at 4 o'clock in the morning and take the garbage out?
That would
Yes.
allow, it would not
Yes.
preclude them from being able to do that. It would be a part of the normal schedule and routine that contractor has with the balance of commercial properties within the city. To Carol's point earlier with Johnny V's, to my point with the medical building, Johnny V, not putting words in your mouth, but I think you commented previously that the school dumpsters are certainly before 8 a.m.
Hang on, before we make a motion on that. Does Mr. Thomas need to withdraw his former
He did
request?
that,
He did that already.
yeah.
You need to acknowledge it.
We need to
As a
acknowledge it.
motion, I would say.
It's on the front of this page.
Right, but we need a motion to acknowledge
You
it.
need to acknowledge it.
Yeah,
in your minutes.
so I will
That
make
you
a
accept.
motion that we acknowledge that Mr. Thomas has rescinded his previous application for rezoning.
A second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, so I'll fill out that paper.
Okay, now we have a motion, another motion.
Yeah, so the motion would be to recommend the conditional rezoning agreement striking section 1.1B.
Correct.
We're recommending this to city council, correct?
That would,
Yes.
Along with this whole thing, yeah.
Yes, so the motion would be, I move that we recommend to city council to approve the conditional rezoning agreement as presented to the planning commission, striking 1.1D.
No.
No?
Oh, no, only because you're not recommending tonight. You're just making a formal motion with what's presented to you, the condition, to eliminate that part, because you still have to set your public hearing, which is your
Got it,
board's
okay.
recommendation.
Okay,
I just don't want to confuse, because a recommendation usually means it's on the council, and it's not yet.
But we still have to have a motion to take that out.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yes,
my
so that-
motion was
so that you
simply
all
that from
agree,
this
yes.
Okay.
this document, that 1.1D
Be
be
struck.
struck from the document.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we need to set a public hearing. And I would like to suggest that we set it for December 24th.
It's a long ways away, guys.
Your heart just went down your feet, right?
Did you say December?
Okay, the earliest that we can have that is gonna be May 20th. And the reason for that is it takes 2 days to get it into the paper, and then we have to have 14 days after that till we get the paper, or till we get the meeting. So we got 16 days, and this is the 3rd, so that'd be the 19th. Could we do it on the
The
19th?
earliest is the 20th. I'm sorry to make this, but the
Okay.
state says 15 days publishing prior to your public hearing.
Okay.
Sorry.
And the 20th has a council meeting that evening. So we either do it prior to the council meeting and then let the council present it, take care of it then, or we do it after the 20th. So what's everybody's feeling at doing it? And I don't know how long the public comment is gonna be. It went for quite a while last time. Yes, sir.
Can I beg that we do it the 20th?
Can you what?
Can I beg that we do it before the meeting?
Well, that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah. If we can get it on the agenda, Devin, then I'm fine with doing it earlier in the day on,
Council wouldn't have to call a special meeting. It could be
Right.
on the agenda
it could be done all on that
20th.
day.
And if you're all in agreement with what's in front of you tonight, I don't imagine there will be a lot of public comment unless you have residents coming in, and that's what you would be subjected to with a public comment, is having residents come in and speak about it.
Well, if we did it, question Devin, if we did it at 4 o'clock on the 20th, would that give enough time for you to get whatever you need to get together for council?
Hold on, let me take away the headache from today.
You want me to leave?
So if you had 4 o'clock, and your meeting should last a half an hour or less.
Right.
The problem is for it to be, well, I don't see why, but I would like to get legal opinion, but I don't see why the mayor and I wouldn't have the authority to put on a possible approval,
Mhm.
because I have to do that Monday, not Thursday.
Okay.
Worst thing that would happen is that it would be tabled and then they would call a special meeting if it would fall through.
Okay.
So if you had the meeting at 4, and it's a Thursday, and if I was on target, come see me as soon as possible so that I know what I'm getting ready.
Okay. Is 4 o'clock on the 20th agreeable to everybody?
I can make it
Yeah.
happen, sure. Mhm.
Okay. Everybody nodded in agreement. How about Kelly?
Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly? For this situation, we are not asking it to be a Zoom because it is a special meeting, but we are asking if you would get Mr. Aki's phone and be on speaker to be able to participate. Do you agree with that situation? Thank you.
Okay, so we have the special meeting scheduled for the 20th.
So you need 2 planning commission to call it your special. And I gave Genevieve the paperwork so that they can formally sign. And then Bob, I gave you the paperwork because according to your ordinance, you call the special to your planning commission because it's been called by 2 planning commission members.
So would 2 planning commission members like to sign this?
Where's the one to call the special meeting?
That's what,
Genevieve is doing it right now.
Yep. I'm gonna hand it to you in just a
Okay.
second.
So what they're doing is they're signing to, is that, they're doing that?
Mm-hmm. Larry's, and that's gonna do that and give it to you.
And then what's gonna happen is this is what you're gonna need to CC me in, get it to all of your planning commission. You'll have the paperwork that 2 of your members have, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Call a special meeting, just add the day, what is May 20th, a Thursday? Just add
Yes.
Thursday to it, so everything's official. And so what happens at my level, and it's the same that's happened to you with the 24 hours, is that these guys could be at home and they want to call a special meeting, they can formally come up with this form, call a special meeting, you give it to your chairman. Your chairman then sends a memo, just like you see when I do for us. And then you would let your planning commission know that a meeting has been set. Double check me, I did this in the last hour, okay? So
Okay.
double check that it makes sense and what you're doing. You would sign it, scan it, formally get it to your planning commission, CC me in. I'll worry about the publishing on the doors and all of that to make sure that you're covered.
So I send this out to everybody.
I would send it out to your planning commission
Okay.
members and anybody that you usually do that attends your meetings.
Okay, I need to sign it.
Yeah, let me put in the dates though for you. May 4 o'clock.
20th.
Now you,
Does anybody have any questions on your new process to County Special? Are you comfortable with what's happening tonight?
okay, so there's that part. So now we need a motion to hold a public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we hold a public hearing for the rezoning of the property, 644 North Madison and Perry.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Thank you, guys.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's a lot quicker than December 24th.
Yeah, that actually makes
Now you
it
can
way
sign it.
better.
Now, Devin, do I send both these copies to all the members? Or just the one?
Because I'm the clerk, I want it on record for the planning commission, I should have both copies. But this is all you have to do for your planning commission to make sure,
Okay,
because you receive this. If you want to inform them who called it, you can do that too.
okay.
That is up to you.
I'll put it in there and I'll bring these back into you.
That was wonderful. Yes,
All right.
yes, please. Yep.
Okay. Devin, when do you want that? Tomorrow morning? Or do you want it tonight?
It's all beautiful. If it's on there, I've got it tomorrow morning. If you go home with it, come see me tomorrow morning. You're talking about the notices that are in your hands right now?
Yeah, you said scan it in and send it to them?
Scan it to send it to them. If you'd like, I can scan it so that you have a signed copy of it.
Does it have to come from the chairperson, or can I take a picture of it and send it?
As long as he's doing it, you can take a picture of it and send it to him. It says the chairman calls the meeting, so I'm just following what you guys placed. It's just taking a picture of it. Genevieve can send you the picture, and there you go.
Yeah.
That's all. And don't forget that I need a copy of your resolution to set your public hearing.
Okay.
Quick question. Am I needed for anything else? I can stay as long as you want me to, just curious.
You don't need it,
I don't think there's any reason for you to have to stay.
Why, this isn't entertaining?
Very, actually. Like your Twilight Zone.
That's like watching paint dry. Okay, I'll just take a picture of all of it, send it all to you.
Since we already passed it, I think you can go home.
Thank you guys very much.
Yep.
I'll
No,
see you guys
thank
on the
you,
20th.
thanks for your patience.
Yes, absolutely, guys.
Nice meeting you.
Hey, nice meeting you, man. Have a great
I'll
night.
send these all to you right now,
Okay,
and then you can.
I'll get these to Devin.
Hi, Bob. Okay. Do you guys have like a public comment time? If you do, just let me know.
We'll do it right now.
Well, that was easy.
Sure.
Did you guys receive or pick up a packet about a site plan on everything that was out there? I'm just going to give you some highlights. My goal is, what we've done in past is, as soon as I get materials, I would like planning commission to be aware that a site plan has come in. At this point, where we are at is that our, we've received it, we've received the funds for it to go forward. Leland has sent out, with this particular site plan that is in front of you, it has went out to the city attorney, the building inspector, superintendent of DPW, fire chief. There's nothing being built for the need of him to be necessary. The assessor, nothing there. Of course, the zoning administrator and city clerk. This item, according to city attorney and Department of Public Works, because this was a conversation that happened probably 6 months ago or so, are comfortable that it doesn't need an engineer. So at this point, the attorney has given an opinion. This opinion is great, and I believe I put that in part of your package. As you can see, I kind of did a circle. One, departments have 10 days to get back with Leland. John has not submitted his approval and review of it. The attorney has. John and I sat down today, and I have questions, and because John's already talked to the city attorney, I don't want to complicate it as a third party. I've asked John to go back, because in my opinion, with the second sentence, having reviewed the application, I have no objection to the required installation of well as laid out in the plan submitted and to be used for agricultural purposes only. So in my opinion, and I might be wrong, and this is what he's going to inquire in, if you should, as a planning commission, once it gets to you guys to approve, do you guys have to figure out the wording to say it's going to stay agricultural? In my opinion, and that's what we're trying to find out, is the attorney should have some type of addendum or something, because this situation is not in our ordinance at all. This agricultural well that we're doing, but it's been measured out by your Department of Public Works, that it falls way beyond what our ordinance says, that is not forcing him to hook up, and that as long as it's used for that, for no drinking purposes or anything, I think there's liability by, and I would like our attorney to cover your liability with a site plan approval. Does that make sense, what I'm up to?
So this wouldn't go as a variance?
The city attorney advised him 6 months ago to go through a site plan. And so this is what he's doing as he was advised, Mr. Spitzley.
I thought we already approved his site plan.
So you've seen one of the maps,
Yeah.
and
This is the mushroom grower, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
And so our city attorney advised that he should do a site plan application form, and it should go through planning commission so that it meets all of that.
Yeah. I'm just remembering what.
And so as you can see in the yellow, this is where the irrigation is, and there are other plans. You can see his future possibly does have housing, and he's been informed by John and is, knows that that has to be hooked up to water and sewer of the city, but that's not what's on the table right now. So if you have any questions or anything, you have a preliminary of what's in front of you. If you want to get a hold of Leland and have him ask questions with the city attorney, with what you just said, Genevieve, all I'm doing is trying to report what I know, and this is what you're getting, okay? I always hate to do the work and then you guys have good questions and then we're just delaying the process. So at this point, you don't even have all of the reports. We're still getting more in. At your next regular meeting, I'm hoping there will be enough information that the applicant will be able to be invited. You guys can consider a site plan approval. That's my hope, but I don't know if.
Yeah.
And that's all I had to bring to you guys tonight.
Okay, so we don't need to really do anything tonight on that?
No,
Wait
I'm
for
just
next week?
informing you that we
Next month.
received it and who is giving you advice and what's coming. And if you have any questions, feel free to start working with Leland on any of your concerns or anything so he can follow up and have you prepared. And as I get more information, because in the past, you know, I've scanned everything and gotten it to you. It's just been one thing or another, so I apologize. You know, I got this the end of last week and I can't keep up right now, so I apologize.
No, thanks for giving us the heads up,
Yeah,
for an
thank you.
opportunity to think about it, to have the information and getting it to us early, just really, really helpful. And thank you for everything tonight and getting us the right
You're welcome.
paperwork and motions. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Whatever I need, just put it on there and like usual, I'll just come up here in the morning and grab it, okay?
Okay,
All right.
thank you, don't forget the key.
I won't.
You should have those documents in your inbox now. Good night.
They went off.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, DDA discussion under old business. City council has tabled that indefinitely, so there's no sense in us discussing it any further.
I'll just provide a quick update for the group. Actually, what City Council and the Business Affairs and Technology Committee has done is got a letter out to all of the businesses within the city, not just in the downtown district, requesting feedback relative to an interest in whether or not to form a business association. So we're in the early stages of getting feedback, and we're probably going to have to go door to door, if you will, for some one-on-one discussion. That committee is going to meet this Friday and talk about our next steps. The letter's been out for about a week and a half right now with limited feedback thus far. But the feedback that has come is positive to consider a business association for the city, so stay tuned.
So at the council level, the council is not discussing it, but the committee is doing some work
The
and
committee
we
right
bring
now
it
is
back to
doing some
council
work
when they
at
have.
the request of the council.
Got it, okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure it wasn't dead in the morning.
There
I
was,
sure misunderstood that.
there was something that came out on Facebook or Perry page or something, was a request of what the people wanted for Perry, and it had a whole list of things.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, is that something that you guys did?
That is independent of, I saw the same thing, Bob, and I'm not sure where that was generated originally from. I don't know whether that may have come out of the Parks and Rec Committee, but it didn't have Bob Porter's name associated with it, and Bob is the chair of that particular
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah, I didn't see any name that I
No,
recognized.
it's separate from what I just spoke of with the business affairs activity.
Okay. Anything else on that? Fee schedule and penalty discussion, do we want to do that or table it till later?
Let me provide a little bit of an update if I could. One of the other things that's happening in this case with the Finance and Ordinance Committee at the request of the council is we have met and put together a draft that's currently with our city attorney, waiting feedback that would, for the zoning ordinance in particular, would provide some enhancement to the enforcement section of the zoning ordinance currently.
Oh, very good.
So as soon as we get Justin's feedback, then we'll be able to share a little bit more detail, but it really is patterned somewhat after other municipalities as well as the county zoning ordinance currently. So
Okay.
we'll see where that in fact goes, but there is work happening on it. Leland has been a part of that discussion as well.
And you're focusing mostly on penalty fees?
Yes.
Or the
yeah.
full entire fee structure? Just
Pardon?
penalty? The entire fee structure or just penalty fees?
But it's the entire, it would be the notification of violation followed up by ultimately a structure of some financial penalties.
Uh-huh.
And if those don't correct the condition,
Got
a
Right.
civil citation and a court appearance.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I'd asked for the clarification is in previous planning commission meetings, we talked about the idea of the fees not being exorbitant or being reasonable so that people will actually do them. And so I didn't know if that committee was taking that charge up again or strictly looking at the penalty phase. So thanks for that clarification.
Okay, anything else on the fee schedule then?
Yep.
I-1 and I-2?
I'm still working, I don't have anything good yet.
That's fine.
Mhm.
All right, is there anything else we need to bring up and discuss tonight? We accomplished a tremendous amount of business in a short period of time.
We're awesome.
One other thing that I'll raise, and this may be redundant, I know I've reported previously that same Finance and Ordinance Committee was working on some revisions to the sign ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
Those in fact have been reviewed and approved by City Council. And I'm not certain whether our 30-day enforcement period is completed quite yet or not. But
Are you kidding?
fundamentally, without going through, and I think I shared this previously, it takes permanent signs require a permit, and I'm generalizing a bit. Permanent signs require a permit. Non-permanent signs have requirements, but have eliminated the need for some of the permits that were in the prior ordinance.
Well, that was a lot of work on your part, and also, Mindy, thank you for your work in that and making that happen. That's been needed for a long time.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah, I
in place
could-
at this point.
I couldn't believe when I heard the arguments about those little stand-up A-frame signs and
Got a
everything.
little spicy, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, is there anything else we need to discuss? Mindy, any comments? Okay.
Okay. I didn't record it on here, but you're recording it, right?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Does Kelly have any comments?
Kelly, anything you want to share with the group today? She says she's good.
Okay. All right, I guess our meeting is over. Thank you all for coming. And we'll see you on the 7th of June.
On the 20th of May.
20th of
Oh,
May.
I'm gonna say-
yeah, that's right, 20th
4
of
o'clock.
May, 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Up here, up here.
Yes.